What's up, everybody? I'm back with a new reaction video of SmugAlana. I really like her stuff, and she has this video that I want to talk about here called "They're Malding Out over Reviews." Don't know what this is about, but I usually really like her content, right? So I wanted to react to this one. So let me get everything prepared, and do me a huge favor. Like, YouTube's been acting funny recently with the like button system. Do you mind doing me a huge favor, especially if you is your first time watching my content? Please like the video. Check out SmugAlana's content. She's very, very good. I'm just gonna make sure I show some love for her. Check out my channel, my YouTube and Twitch channel, as I stream games, review content, and react to videos. I'm trying to make sure I get out my comic book review, hopefully at the very latest some point next week. I want to make sure I get it out before I get too busy in the next following month. So anyway, let's check out SmugAlana.
And Steam needs to do more to censor hateful criticism from games. Oh no, not the relooted devs at Blue Sky. Oh no, whatever they're gonna do, cry on.
I don't trust anything, that has something to do with Blue Sky. Anything with have to do something like blue or anything like that is usually a super left-leaning crap.
Blue Cry?
So the other day I talked about Relooted. This game launched. It launched.
It looks terrible too. They're really doing like a disservice to these characters. What the character design is just not very good. I've seen plenty of black characters that look fan-fucking-tastic.
You can call it a launch when it.
Yeah, they're trying to do their own little Black Panther thing with the outfits, and it's just not working. You're like like Black Panther light. You're like Temu Black Panther. Your Temu Black Panther is not working, and it's like, God, there's too many examples of good-looking black characters. And you can't use an excuse like, oh, we only had this amount of budget. No, you didn't try. You thought you can ride that woke wave and it'll carry you forward. You did not try.
It had like a peak player count of 57. That's more of like
very
an instant
corporate,
fail, but yeah.
And you're trying to, they want to do like a Tomb Raider thing, but it's not working. You have this little political message about like, stealing African artifacts, because it doesn't belong to whatever museum you're lifting it from. Usually it's European, and it's like, what? Now it'd be entirely different if you're trying to steal it from some ancient ruins or some black arms dealers to bring it back to its people. Then it's entirely different. But no, I guess the whole "it belongs in a museum" motif kind of just went over your heads. You were trying to do a thing, it didn't work.
Relooted launched. Got a max player count of 57. Now it's 36
Lord.
as of
Where's the
recording.
audience?
And I saw some tweets from Gothic Therapy where they showcase a few tweets, or excuse me, a few Blue Sky posts from the CEO of Relooted. This
boy,
Ben Myers guy. And in this,
let me guess. The gamers are racist.
Screenshots of the posts, he is complaining about gamers and Steam and wanting to censor the Steam forums, but he's scared if he does, he'll get criticism for it, but he really wants to. And I went over to the guy's Blue Sky account and I couldn't find those posts actually. It looks like he deleted them. So I'll say, like, apparently he said this stuff because
Stand on
it's not
business,
there
brother.
anymore, but the screenshots are still out there. And let me show you where this discussion really started. And it gets especially interesting too because we have a little cameo from a certain Chris Kindred, a name you might be familiar with.
Oh,
if
the
you follow
Sweet Baby person,
news that
yeah.
was going around a while back. And so it all begins here with this
I got a lot of
TEG.
names.
There we go.
Scarlet Witch.
Right-oid culture war incels. Hell.
Check out my Marvel Rivals content on my channel. I play, I tried out almost every character, but I do have my mains. I just wrapped up learning Deadpool. I think some point next week or the end of this week I'll start learning Elsa Bloodstone. And then after her, I'm going to try to learn Mantis next.
Sweet baby person,
news
yeah.
that was going around a while back. And so it all begins here with this TEG.
There we go. Right-oid culture war incels. Hell yeah. I called it.
Account on Blue Sky. That
Let's
says,
go.
This is the Steam
It's
4.
like typical buzzwords. It's like you can't. They hide behind all that rhetoric when they don't want to face the facts that there might be legit criticisms of the stuff that you made. And not might be. There's probably definitely, legitimate criticisms of your game. But instead of like taking it in, do some self-assessment and try to make the necessary changes to make it a enjoyable game for everybody and not just like a finite group. That shows some self-awareness and character growth. But no, you hide behind these buzzwords as a shield in order to think you can just do whatever. And your little demographic isn't all that much, so therefore you ain't going to make all that much money from your game. Because you're trying to cater to a small particular fan base and you get mad at those who ain't biting the apple. Because they're not interested.
For Relooted, and it's all grave dancing right-oid culture war incels. Do you think Valve is ever going to crack down on this stuff? They allow this nonsense to fester on their
The
platform.
target audience looted this game someplace else.
Providing hate mongers a soapbox to spew vile
What? That's not even hateful. It's just funny. What the fuck? They're making a pun out of your game name. How is that fucking terrible? Hello, fellow chuds.
racist BS. Deeply frustrating. Oh, it's so frustrating. I'm going to this forum and it's upsetting me, and I'm going there anyways and screenshotting it to complain on my Blue Sky account. Could this guy have fit any more buzzwords in that post either? What is that, like 4 sentences? He managed to shovel so many buzzwords in that stuff. It's crazy. And so that's where we can see these.
I feel like the second one is also pretty reasonable. This is not the way to get any sort of message across. Wilted rose emoji. How is that even bad? How is this grave dancing? They're just stating their criticism that this isn't the right way to do it.
Right. This whole, like, calling culture war incels and all, it's like nonsense to fester on their platform before providing hate mongers a soapbox to spew vile racist BS. Don't see anything racist in here. People are like, why don't they say? I can respect people who offer, good criticism, like good faith criticism, but all I see is racist nonsense and be like, well, I see 4 right here, like legit criticisms, nothing hateful, nothing racist. They ain't called nobody out their freaking names. They ain't attacking any particular actor, so you can't get no other actor to go on their little phone and put out some kind of social media thing to say like you're no fan of mine, blah blah blah. No, this is all legit. The target audience looted this game someplace else. This is not the way to get any sort of message across. So how is this funded? Hey, fellow chuds, it's like, it's light teasing at most, or at the bare minimum is like trying to point out a fact. Like, this is like a reasonable, like probably the most reasonable criticism. Clearly, this person clearly understands that you're trying to put out some kind of message, and even I can say, yeah, I understand where you were going with this. And on paper, it might not seem like a bad idea, but your execution was horrible. You're trying to put your activism at the forefront of everything instead of concentrating on an actual story with layered characters. It's like, come on. It's like, you look at something like Expedition 33, I keep using it as an example because it's such a perfect example of people who want to focus on creating stories and not worry about check boxes. Relooted and like Hunters Gatherings or Concord, those are like the prime examples of games that put too much focus on activism and check boxes compared to something like Marvel Rivals or Expedition 33, or even like Resident Evil games. It's like they know who their target audience is. They know how to make great games by focusing on story and layered characters. They're complex. They're not one note. This game, what do you think was going to happen? You really thought that you was going to ride the wave of that activism bullcrap and think everybody's going to gobble it up like candy. But they called you out on it. They say no. They voted with their wallets and they say the nay. Not something that's there for them. It's lackluster. It's, boring at best. But yeah, sure. You use those buzzwords as a shield. You ain't trying to take any accountability that, hey, maybe we're effed up.
Either, what is that, like 4 sentences? He managed to shovel so many buzzwords in that stuff. It's crazy. And so that's where we can see these apparent responses from Relooted CEO Ben Myers. But before we take a look at all those posts, let me show you this one that I mentioned from Chris Kindred. It says, we're here in this moment explicitly because Steam wouldn't do anything they didn't do any... Wait a second, hold on.
Holy shit, I had an aneurysm reading that in my head.
The phrasing here is really funny. Or either I read that wrong or the phrasing's really funny. Let me try again. We're here in this moment explicitly because Steam wouldn't do anything. They didn't do anything about this at the critical moment. Yeah, the phrasing's funny. Absolute abdication
there should be a comment. They repeated themselves, and maybe if there was a comment, it might have helped.
Steam wouldn't do anything. They didn't do anything about this at the critical moment. The critical moment? What is that even supposed to mean, bro? What is the critical moment?
If we didn't have a bunch of rightoid...
How to find the right car for you. Go to Cars.com. Look at the car you like.
Ciao.
Find your next possibility on Cars.com.
I'm Pat Hines, a professional assessor.
Golly. Yeah. This year, don't worry, people. This year, I think we got more games.
Incels.
We got more games that with developers that know how to make some really good games and know who their audience is. We're stacked this year getting into the 2027. We're going to be just filled with quality games. So this will speak volumes for anybody working on whatever right now and releasing some kind of trailer for the following year. They will probably look at this year and it's like, okay, we need to reevaluate some stuff, push certain things back because, the masses voted and say like something like Beasts of Reincarnation. They need more of that. We need hot chicks and, broy muscle dudes that act like heroes that people want to see. Something like Marvel Rivals. And not walk it back and be beta bitches like the producer at Blizzard did with that VO who cracked over their new Overwatch character. That a person that should have gotten fired for that crap. I'm still gonna say that all the live long day because that was stupid.
Posting about it on the forums, this game would have been more successful. Okay, buddy, whatever makes you sleep at night, I guess.
These people are such drama queens. And so, as mentioned, Chris Kindred is someone who was formerly
Holy
a narrative
assa.
designer at Canadian DEI consultation firm Sweet Baby Inc. And this is someone who previously advocated for censorship over on Steam because he was offended at the stuff gamers were saying there, and also offended that gamers were pointing out games that Sweet Baby Inc. had worked on.
Oh no.
And so he didn't like that.
And they didn't like that so much that they deleted it off their website. At least stand on your ground, sis.
He didn't like that transparency. He didn't like that people were saying, hey, SBI worked on this game, just letting you know. And he wanted anyone that would say such things banned. And not just banned, he even advocated for people's entire Steam accounts to get banned too. So to clarify, not just like banned on a Steam discussion forum, but their entire Steam account banned. Which, would mean you lose your entire Steam library. All those games you spent money on. This guy wanted you to lose all that because you had the audacity to say, hey, SBI worked on that game, just letting you know. That's how unhinged these people are. So it's a pretty funny little...
Yeah, didn't they also threaten to dox the guy that made the list or something on Steam? Yeah, that he deserves to get doxed and, like, have his account, deleted and shit. I saw some pretty racist comments, too, because he's from Brazil and saying, like, oh, well, you're only saying that because you're from Brazil. It's like, what is that supposed to mean? Excuse me? Yeah, I'm not saying that was what Sweet Baby Inc. said, but there were a lot of people saying stupid shit.
Cameo here that we see Chris Kindred over in the Blue Sky Echo Chamber.
I thought they did dox
still
him?
advocating
I don't think they
for
did. They
censorship
wanted
on
him
Steam.
to.
This stuff with SBI happened years ago. I think it was back in 2024, if I recall. And to this day, man is still just that pressed over it all. And that takes us back to Ben Myers, the CEO of the dev studio behind this Relooted game, where Ben Myers is responding to this TG person that we read a few minutes ago that said, this is the Steam forum for Relooted, and it's all grave dancing rightoid culture war incels. Do you think Valve's ever going to crack down on this stuff? They allow this nonsense to fester on their platform, providing hate mongers a soapbox to spew vile racist BS, deeply frustrating.
How is this racist? The target audience looted this game someplace else. That's a joke because the game is called...
I don't know if this was screenshotted down here. Because I'm not saying there probably wouldn't be a minute people who will say some really heinous racist stuff. But you picked, if this was screenshotted, you picked the most benign things people can criticize your game about. You didn't... Because I don't know if this was a screenshot there, because if it's not, then you need to show some actual proof. And even if he found some, compare that to maybe a laundry list of people who actually has some legit criticism. Let's say it's like 1,000 comments about this game. Maybe 50 of those were actually good comments about something who actually enjoy the game. Then there's probably maybe, give you like a benefit of the doubt, maybe 70 or maybe 60 or 70 like people who might say something heinous and racist. But it's still a larger quantity of people who actually have like legit criticism that this game is kind of crap, but you don't want to show a cover for you to judge for what little we get. And if people see something that seems off, then they have every right to criticize it because you put it out there to be criticized. No, people don't owe you to love your stuff for the on the sole basis of you being a black lead thing. I don't care. No, nobody should just like anybody's stuff on the sole basis of their skin color or their gender. Did you put the time and effort to make sure that this is a product that you're proud of before you put it out there to the masses, so they can take it in and form their own conclusions about it? Let the chips fall where they may. If you're not confident in any of that stuff, or you can't handle what may, then you did a crappy job. Because you like I said, you too busy worrying about your check boxes and your activism to put any effort into the story. And I'm pretty sure those characters are very one note too. I can pretty much guarantee it.
Reloaded. This is not this way to get a message across, not racist. So how is this funded? That's not racist, it's a question. They're asking where did they get the money to make this game, because games cost a lot of money to make, generally speaking. They're not made from like nothing, right? Hello fellow chuds, that's like a troll meme post. Again, not really racist. Like, what are we talking about? Like, everything that you don't like is racist?
And Ben Myers responds and says,
Because, Alana, God forbid you hold anybody who isn't a white straight male accountable for anything, because they can hide behind, oh my God, you're being racist. Oh my God, you're being misogynist. Because, you dare challenge or hold somebody's feet to the fire that happen to be of a particular color of skin or particular gender. Because their fragile egos cannot take it. Even the most benign criticism imaginable, they cannot take it because they personalize everything. Because honestly, this is like a personalized project here. This is like, oh, I inserted myself pretty much into this thing, and any attack against it is an attack against me, so I call it racist. That's what it basically is. They put too much of themselves into this stuff. And because there's criticism, their fifis got hurt, so now they just attack.
No, everything
based
that's
on the
not
torrid
praise is
stuff they mark
racist.
is not against terms of service when it's reported. I doubt they have much interest ever addressing this, which is particularly awful considering you can't turn off forums as a dev.
Oh my God, these people don't want any discussion. If it was their choice, they literally wouldn't have a forum page for people to like talk about their game.
This guy wants to turn off the
that's
Steam forums on his
impressive.
game, brother. Those Steam forums have more active people there than your game does. TEG says, one solution I've seen other devs use is to lock the whole forum and leave a single locked thread pointing to a platform they have actual moderation
Oh my God, it's like self-reporting, and they say it out loud without even realizing it.
power over. Just go to Reddit. Go to our subreddit. Maybe that's an option for y'all. Either way, deeply sorry you have to deal with this BS. 2014 never ends.
I like this comment. Just shut up and like our slop. That's pretty much what a lot of these, not even just with the games, but certain movies and TV shows, like Star Trek, Starfleet Academy. That's basically anybody behind who was working on that or a part of that show get any kind of criticism. They get very defensive, throw out buzzwords, and basically what you're telling to the masses, shut up and love our slop. Because that's what it is, a slop. There was zero effort put into the making of your material. It's low effort. And we calling you out on it, and you cannot say, or you can say it, but you cannot back it up. You cannot say that people are being Islamophobe because they dare say, like, yeah, this is not good. It's not good. I mean, it's like there was like there's a thing in society. Not everybody deserves to like your stuff. You make something, if you don't put much effort and work ethic behind it, and you put it out and it's half finished or it's crooked or is bland paint job or whatever, the masses has every right to criticize what you put out for them to judge. The developers behind Expedition 33, they put in the work, and once they were satisfied with what they completed, they put it out into the masses and let the chips fall where they may. And because they put in the effort, they put in that time, they got all those accolades for a reason, because they knew how to write a good story and knew who the target audience was. God. And they getting like so much goodwill because of that. This is low effort.
Ben says, we'll look into it. Part of the issue, though, is that if you use your moderation...
What does that even mean? You have to deal with this bullshit. 2014 never ends. Buddy, it's been 12 years. If anything, censorship's gotten even worse.
Maybe that's an option for y'all. Either way,
yeah, they're talking about Gamergate, yeah.
Yes, 2014 never ends.
No.
Ben says, we'll look into it. Part of the issue, though, is that if you use your moderation...
Yeah, they wish it was 2014 where the height of woke was like permeating the zeitgeist. Or even hell, around like 2018 and 2019, they wish it was around that time so they can put out all this slop and people will be too afraid to make any kind of comment on it without being canceled or their channel being taken down or their Twitter being taken down. They want that time period back. They're nostalgic for that time period back because they can get away with dumb stuff like this. But the universe said no.
Powers to, if you use your moderation powers too much as a dev, then there is a cottage industry of YouTubers who
What the fuck is that a term? Cottage industry.
Yeah, it is a term, yeah.
A business of manufacturing activity carried on in a person's home. An industry whose labor force consists of family units or individuals working at home with their own equipment. Oh, they don't like that there's people reporting on it that aren't part of like a corporate conglomerate that they can control. That's what they're saying. They're saying like basically there's people who are journalists, right, that are owned by like a corporation, for example, like IGN and shit, or like Kotaku, which is like they can be bought out, but then the cottage industry of YouTubers, they can't influence them or like push them into saying what they want. They can't silence them because they're doing whatever they want. They don't like that. That's a really nice self-report.
Videos about your forums, and then that drives.
I think we need more cottage industries of YouTubers out there, like Vera Dark, for example, or SmugAlana, or somebody like Nerdrotic. We need, or the side scrollers. That's like, they can just, or Snarky J, where they can, they ain't the paid shields out in the world. They can just, look what's being presented or play what's being presented and given their honest critiques, completely fair. And if they, or even like someone like Dan Morrows should be the highest, I put him in a very high tier in terms of like a good representation of somebody who's not paid. They can give fair criticism, and he's not being flown out anywhere. He goes on his own dime to these places like Sundance or whatever like that, and so he won't be influenced one way or the other. He can just like watch the content because he likes movies and he wants to give like fair criticism, so he can tell his audience, here it is what it is with this particular thing. Here's the new Scream movie. Here's my personal thoughts. The killer here is very lackluster. It's very like samey, but oh my god, Sydney, the actress, She did a phenomenal job. She was a standout and everything like that. But all these supporting characters, they were a little so-so. And it's like giving like a laundry list of bullet points of what worked and what didn't. That's how like somebody like Farrah Dark or do like with like video games. And it's like Marvel Rivals a standout. They knew who the audience was. They knew what who to cater to, and or look at something like Reloaded. Oh my God, they half-assed everything. It's woke slop. It's zero effort. Like someone neurotic. He can tell you that Starfleet Academy is a bunch of elephant dung, but he can also say something like like F1 is like a true to form with movies, or Top Gun is a getting back to the basics with movies, like a good summer blockbuster. He can give fair criticism. He doesn't need to all these people I name can give fair criticism. They don't need to cater to any kind of base. They can just tell you what it is. And that's what I like these kind of people, because they're not bought out. They're pretty much cottage industries. They're not, they can't be motivated or tricked or, there's no grease in the wheels with them. Whatever you put out, they're going to tell you how it is. And if they don't like it, you're going to have to suck it up and take that. But don't you dare pull this crap on those people, especially people like them, because they dare not buy into it just for the sake of buying into it. I like Star Wars, but I can tell you right now, like The Acolyte, the Mandalorian season 3, God, it's been so long. It's like so many crappy Star Wars lately. The sequel trilogy is like, it's terrible. Now, Force Awakens, I'm leaning towards the side that I like it, but you severely dropped the ball, and it's like, it kind of affected most people's enjoyment from The Force Awakens, because you started off on a good foot, but then you didn't get your ducks in a row. You just throwing crap out. But that's a fair criticism. Nobody didn't talk crap about any actor or any race or gender. It's like, you're all terrible. I don't care what skin color you or gender you are. All of it is terrible. You gotta take that.
There's more bad faith actors there. Went through this when we announced. Just it becomes a feedback loop of never-ending new accounts dropping in. Basically impossible to moderate the volume that occurs when that happens. And that's the end of it. So it sounds like what happened, speculating, is Ben saw that people were sharing these screenshots outside of Blue Sky, sharing them on Twitter/X. Some people already made YouTube videos about this. He deleted this stuff as some sort of like damage control or something. I don't know.
Guess.
Didn't want more people talking about it, more people making videos about it. But it's like, dude, the screenshots are already out there. And now here we are. It's also funny where he complains that YouTubers, cover if devs censor gamers.
They just don't want people talking about it. If they had their choice, they would release the game. They would call it a W. They would call it awesome, that it's like breaking through and making new ground on video games.
Yeah,
but because people are criticizing it, if they had their choice, they would just have no forums. They would delete every single YouTube video that's critical of them.
He frames it as like a cottage industry of YouTubers who will cover that stuff, and he's framing it in a negative light. But in reality, that just means that we're individuals working on our own, as opposed to industry people like him that have industry support and funding. And that's to say that it actually makes us look better, and he doesn't realize that, which is pretty funny. Something else funny is that Reloaded and the people behind Reloaded, like Ben Myers, have actually been accused of being racist themselves. People arguing that Reloaded, the game, perpetuates racist stereotypes. And these people have said nothing about that stuff. But they're really quick to label gamers as racists.
Because that person is right think. Meaning that, hey, he will, pull on that woke thread as much as possible. He will, spread our little agenda message all the live long day. He bought into our crap, so of course we're gonna protect him at all costs. Damn, like anything else, he might do, because unless it's something like super extreme, we don't like, he thinks the way we do. It's an echo chamber. It's like, it's so like idiotic, because it's like you're so for inclusion with everything but inclusion of thought, because they ready to eat one another as soon as like one of them dares to agree anything that's conservative, or they question anything that they didn't just automatically just go along with. It's a bunch of yes people. Nobody stands on business. Nobody challenges nobody. They pat themselves on the back as soon as they wrapped up everything, and as soon as they put it out there, they was pretty cheesy. They grinning ear, patting themselves on the back like, yeah, we did it. And as soon as the feedback isn't to that liking, it's like somebody who's been told they're awesome for 20 years of their life, but as soon as they hit 21, they went out into the world and somebody says like, yeah, you dress kind of funny, but everybody in my life said I dress like so well, even though you look like you stepped out of a Thriller video mixed with a like you get your clothes is half 80s and half 90s, and you stepped out thinking like you're the shit, and somebody laughed at you. Now you're ready to like shoot up a school because oh my god, somebody dare criticize me, because because you got too used to everybody just saying and agreeing with everything you do. It's so dumb. Like, you can't not handle criticism. That's a problem, because you probably grew up with parents that collared you for the most part, instead of like putting like some parenting you the right way, and not treating like you're the best friend. Like, I'm my child's best friend. Like, my child's my hero. No, you're their parent, and you need to like prepare them properly, so when they get out in the real world, they can handle criticism. These people, I'm pretty sure a lot of them were coddled for most of their lives, and they're getting pushed back by reality and people who don't know them like that, and it isn't obligated to be nice to them. So now they're freaking out.
Meanwhile, again, they don't address what people are saying about their own alleged racism. Instead, they're busy complaining about Steam for...
Well, yeah, accuse what you're doing of what you're doing on other people and just deflect everything. It's not that difficult of a concept.
Posts.
Yeah.
And
Incel
people worried that people will make
gamers,
YouTube videos if they censor their Steam forums. Reminds me of discourse in 2024 around Ubisoft and Star Wars Outlaws, where it was reported that Ubisoft was trying to pressure Steam to hide or limit the visibility of the concurrent player count for
That's why you can't give them an inch. They will take a mile. They'll be like under the premise of like, oh, see, there's a bunch of racists. You gotta lock down the forums and give us the option of not having forums for our game page. And then they will take that as a W that nobody's criticizing their game. Oh, YouTube, please, they're harassing us for saying our game sucks. Wah.
Their titles.
Please,
they were so humiliated
it's not
that
censorship.
People could
It's
see
just
the
they're
extremely
bullies.
Low player count on their.
Please, they're harassing us for saying our game sucks. Wah.
Their titles.
Like that.
Please,
They were so
it's
humiliated
not
that
One more
game.
time.
Oh, YouTube, please, they're harassing us for saying our game sucks. Wah.
their titles.
Please,
they were so
it's
humiliated
not
that
censorship,
people could
it's
see
just
the
they're
extremely low player
bullies.
count on their Ubisoft games. That they wanted that censored. They didn't want people to be able to see that data, apparently. And so I'm just getting like similar vibes from this as well. You know, we see this time and time again where some moderate audience slop games come out and these people very quickly jump to a smear campaign or just outright censorship. The smear campaign was their old strategy. They'd contact their gaming journalist buddies, get some nonsense article written up.
Yeah,
the
exactly.
gamers are suds, blah, blah, blah. We don't deserve this.
And I wish there was a way to like test this or like check if they actually played the game. I want to see like those journalists that write up articles about their favorite stupid anti-chud game, whatever the fuck, anti-incel gamer game. I want to see if they actually played it. Wouldn't it be so funny if they like got their friend to like write an article and they didn't even play the game? Like they checked your Steam account really quick. I know there's no way to like do that, obviously, unless they do it voluntarily, which they never would anyway. But it's like they're just saying it to make themselves feel good. It's always this feel good virtue signaling, like, yeah, we're destroying the chuds. Yeah, high five, let's go.
Like, no one cares about what gaming journalists have to say anymore, though. So, like, some of them still try that.
They would, like, well, they'll be forced to play, but they'll probably never still admit it's terrible. Or at least maybe half of them won't admit it's terrible. Like, if they actually play Reloaded, they'll still, like, if you can monitor it somehow, they will play it. But they'll probably never will admit how terrible it is. And they'll probably play like, oh, I played 6 hours of it. And the Steam said they actually did play 6 hours of it. Well, they'll probably have somebody else play 6 hours of it. And they'll just like, still type up an article. But they'll say, you can figure out that it actually is them. They will not admit it. Half of them probably will not admit it. It's terrible.
Strategy. And it just fails instantly because, again, no one cares about gaming.
Like somebody who can read body language. So, like, like an interpreter or something like that. And, like, see if they actually are, telling the truth in some kind of way. Like, if they're glancing off too often, or they're stuttering, or they fidgety too much as they're talking with their bosses and hearing what they have to say, and you can actually gauge. Maybe you can pull it off to actually get them to be honest.
Journalists like that.
And
some of them don't even try it anymore. Instead, how can we get Steam censored so people can't voice their opinions like this? Yeah, they would love if like people were forced to only use Reddit and they could have their Reddit White Knight mods just remove any post, ban anyone that has a dissenting opinion. Anyways, yesterday was that High Guard dev that was all whiny and crying and trying to play victim. Now we got this Ben Myers guy.
Wait.
That's the industry for you. Well, this part of the industry at least. Let me know what you guys think about all this in the comments. Thank you for tuning in.
I wonder how much it costs to make
weekend, and I'll see you in the next one.
How much of my taxpayer dollars, because it's a Canadian game, but I'm pretty sure there's American game devs. I'm not sure how it works exactly, but I want to know how much money they got out of the taxpayers to make this game. I really want to know. Couple thousand, couple 100,000. It's not cheap making a video game.
Alright. Yeah, that was SmugAlana. Yeah. That Reloaded is going to be like the next Concord, pretty much. If they keep going the way they're going. They'll learn. They'll learn eventually because, like I said before, this year, the games coming out this year, getting into next year, is going to be insanely good. It's like, but most of them, crazy enough, they come from like the Eastern Bloc or something that's not like Americanized or certain parts of Europe. People that actually care about storytelling and character crafting. I'm not saying like you can't have a message in your game, but it should be like third or fourth on that list. That's the standard. You need to make room for the story. Anyway, I'm curious to know what your guys' thoughts are. I'll see you guys later for more content. I got a couple of reviews out, getting ready to be put out for tomorrow, so look forward to that. I'll see you guys. See you guys soon. Take care. Oh, and by the way, I didn't get a chance to say this to you, fellas, the other day. But Wiggy and Long Bowl, thank you for the follow. I just want to make sure I give y'all a nice little shout out there. So anyway, take care, and I'll see you all later. Peace.